Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Melanie, and I am going into my 8th year teaching in a major city in Pennsylvania. I'm actually transitioning from 2nd grade to 3rd grade. So let me explain. I believe the last time I left off, I was in the process of demoing for other schools because my school was a hot mess. So here's the tea. It's a mild tea. It's not too strong because my school's also going through a lot right now. But like I had those feelings from the beginning of the year. So I had been teaching at a charter school. This is my first year at this school. This is the first year this school has been in person since the pandemic. So when everyone else was slowly transitioning back to in-person learning or a hybrid model, my school stayed virtual. So that's what attracted me to that school in the first place, because if you don't know, I left the school before that in February because they were getting ready to transfer in person, and this is February 2021, and I just did not feel comfortable with that. I wasn't vaccinated yet. I was panicking, anxiety at a 12, so I just wasn't comfortable going inside. So what really attracted me to this charter school that I just left was that they had stayed virtual the entire time, and honestly the demographic of the staff, there was a lot of brown teachers, and not just deans. The principal was a black woman, and as a black woman I related to that, and I was like, oh, okay, let me give this a shot. It's a black owned charter school, charter network, and I was like, oh, let me give this a shot, right? But unfortunately, this particular school, and this has nothing to do with the network as a whole, it is honestly this particular school in isolation, there were just red flags since I got there. So my first day was mid-August, and when I tell you we were just now making lists for school supplies, we didn't have any of the things that we needed. The building was super dirty, which put me off because if no one had been in the building, and I believe there was times where staff met in the building for certain events, but they still taught virtually, but we had like the summer to clean this building up. I don't understand why the building was gross. And if you watch some of my classroom prep videos, then you'll see how I had to clean my room, and it was nasty. The building was nasty. We didn't have our instructional materials, workbooks, curriculum. So up until mid-October, for the science, for the math, we were kind of just like winging it, and that's not okay. And I understand that with postage, with the postal services, there are delays. There have been delays, and I do understand that, but there were some things that they asked us in the beginning of the year of what we needed because they were going to get it from other schools, and they had this system, and we never got it. Up until the end of the year, we were low on manipulatives, math manipulatives, science resources. We were making up grades. I say that. That's what I feel like, because there was just no script. There was no one was doing the same thing. Like, no one teacher was doing the same thing as the next. There was no, I can't think of the word. Consistency, maybe? There were no norms as to how we should grade things and what items should be on the test, and so it was just all over the place. And the principal, and the staff, they really did like me, and they really did compliment me as a teacher, and I'm appreciative of that, but I felt like I had to work 3 times harder than I ever had to work in my 7 years of teaching at this school for this year. And it wasn't the students. I'm used to accommodating for student needs. It wasn't that. It was literally just, I felt like there were so many external things from staff, not even just staff that I closely work with in my classroom, which, by the way, there were 5 adults in my room total. Sometimes there were revolving adults in there. But just from like custodial staff and one-on-ones from other rooms, it just was nonsense. Nothing directly toward me, but just nonsense that made my job so much harder. And for the first time in the 7 years I was teaching, I cried before I went to work, and I cried when I left work, and I couldn't sleep at night, and I didn't want to go, and I wanted to quit in the middle of the year, but I couldn't do that because I know I had just quit my last school, but for a different reason. So I'm like, if I go to a different school, they can't see that I left 2 schools in the middle of the year. That's not a good look for me. But the anxiety I was getting, and I think the major issues was that my principal and assistant principal, they had a lot of family in the school that really just had no business being there. Some of them just, you could tell, just did not like children, and you could tell their relatives were just throwing them a bone to get them a job. But this is not the place for that. Like, you are messing with these kids' minds and lives, and I just didn't appreciate that. I don't even want to say too much because I feel like just me knowing certain things, I might get in trouble. Like, that's how bad it was. Like, we had custodial staff who just did not know how to talk to people. Like, she really just did not know how to talk to people. And at one point, I think she was mad at me for something. There was a situation, I cannot make this up. There was this situation where, you know, the brown paper towels that they have in schools, those big rolls of brown paper towels. So she gave us a roll of that one time, right? And it worked. It lasted forever. Instead of us having to buy our own paper towels, because we had to. We had a sink in our room, but I had to buy my own soap. We had to buy our own paper towels. I was grocery shopping for home and for school. But anyway, she gave us the brown paper towels, and it worked. It lasted a long time. I asked her if we could have, when it ran out, I asked her if we could have another roll. She explained to me, you know, we can't give you any more of the brown rolls because of something, blah, 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 blah. All I heard was no, and that's okay. You don't really even have to explain it to me. You can't give it to me? Fine. She told me that, not the other 4 adults in my room. And I didn't relay this information because I didn't think I needed to. But I guess one day, coming in from recess or going down to lunch, I don't even remember, one of the PCAs, which is like a one-on-one, one of the PCAs asked a different custodian personnel if we could get paper towels. And I guess the main, because I don't know, she's their manager, I don't know, but the main custodian personnel overheard that conversation and snapped on her. I'm talking like they're yelling in the office over paper towels. Like, and then the next morning I went into my team teacher's room, and we were talking about like this math strategy we had to teach the kids, blah blah blah, and she comes in barking at me, but it wasn't directed toward me. She was still mad at the woman who worked in my room, but she was yelling at me like I was a child, like literally putting her hand in my face like that, because she was like, she thinks she's sneaky and she thinks she's slick and da 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 da. And she knew, and I tried to explain. I'm like, I didn't tell everyone in my room that you already explained it to me. That was my bad. Next time I'll relay the information. No, because you talking to me like and I'm like, this is all over a roll of paper towels. And then imagine starting your day like that, frazzled, a little mad, a little upset, and now the little ones are coming in. Like, it was so hard to do my job because of everyone else. Like, the way people would come in. Oh, I had another woman, another one-on-one, who, she had 2 kids at one time, and the one kid started showing behaviors he didn't normally show. And so mom wanted to have a meeting with everyone who worked with him. Great. I'm gonna set up this meeting because she thought maybe because he's been with the woman and she's an older woman, that maybe he's seeing her like grandma and they live at home, like he sees grandma every day, maybe he's seeing, that's why he's acting that way. So I go to her first. Before I sent the email out to everyone, I go to her first, like, hey, this is what mom thinks, blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to set up an email. Okay, I'll talk to my sister, because she was the principal's sister. And I'm like, you don't need to talk to her. Like, I'm setting up a meeting for everyone. So I sent the email to everyone who deals with this student every day. And I say the words that mom said to me, which was, he sees such and such as a grandmother figure, and this, that, or mom says that, and she's thinking maybe he needs a new PCA. When I tell you, in the middle of my small group in my room, I'm with, the whole class is there, but I'm with a small group with a child that she's supposed to be with. Because she takes 50 breaks a day. She like rushes in the room and just like, you're rude. You think you know everything and you don't. And I'm like, whoa, what just happened? What just happened? I was like, let's call her Bertha, right? I'm like, Miss Bertha, would you like to have a conversation? I can call someone to come cover the class. Like, I'm being professional. I'm like, I can call someone to, because I'm the only one in here, everyone's on break. I can call someone to come cover the class and we can have a conversation, because I don't know what this is about. It doesn't need to be in front of the kids. No, we have a meeting with my sister. Okay. I don't know what the meeting will be about, but we never had a meeting. She threatened me with meetings with her sister, the principal, like 7 times throughout the year. She threatened my assistant with that. That's just what she does. And we're like, okay, let's schedule a meeting. She said, no, I don't want to bother her. She's going through all this stuff. I'm like, so then stop saying that. Like, it was so, but then you're livid, you're shaking. And what got me the most is the one day, that day, it really got to me. And I remember just like projecting it to my kids. Like, I'm just yelling all over the place. And then I stepped back because I'm like, whoa, I'm not even mad at my kids. So I'm putting like stickers on everybody's whole bodies. You know, I put on a, what is his name? Jack Hartman or something. I put on his videos, letting them dance, letting them chill out, turn the lights off, because I needed to calm down. And I did not leave work. My kids get dismissed at 3:15. When I say I didn't leave work till like 6:30, because I was just crying and crying and crying. And I got all this bad news from personal life. I'm getting all this bad news on top of this day, and I'm crying because she got me to the level where I projected it on my kids. Not because of what she said. I don't care about what she said. But that I was so mad that I'm now yelling at my kids. Like, it is affecting my work. And I'm like, this place is so toxic. I cannot be here. Like, I'm like, I cannot be here. And the principal, she wants me to stay. And I'm like, you're not even seeing who's pushing everyone out. It's like the siblings in the school and the boyfriends and the daughters and not just my principal, but other admin staff, and people are butting head, and you're getting information from this person, information that person, because they don't agree, but they're not talking to each other about it, so they just want you to do 2 things. It just makes working there impossible. And so I was like, I need to go. So that's basically why I left that school, and why it was so hard for me to film. Not only is there a million people in my room every day, but then it's just like, emotionally, I was just not there. I didn't want to talk about my day because every day was terrible. You know, a few days were good, but there were more bad days than good. And I'm like, I just do not want to talk about it. So that's that. So, was it April? Maybe it was April or May? Something like that. It's in other videos, I think. That's when I started to apply for jobs. I applied at my last district or network, charter school network, and then I applied for 2 other charter schools. I did not want to go to the school district because of pay cuts. Even though there's a union, there's like pros and cons, but I was just going to stick with charter for now. And so All of the demos went extremely well. I got offers from all the jobs. My 2 top schools, the pay was like this. It was like, my deciding factor was that if I went back to my previous network, a different school, but the same network that I left from in February due to COVID related things, I would be going to first grade, which power to the teachers who teach first grade. It could not be me. It could not be me. First grade is built different. They are different. I'd rather go up. So I'd go to first grade, and that school is right next to a high school, and I take public transportation, and I did not want to go home with high schoolers. Going to school with high schoolers is one thing. High school is more chill in the morning. After school, just waiting on the corner, there's fights and things. And mind you, I teach at charter schools that are predominantly African American, Hispanic, and of low income. So unfortunately, there are a lot of fights and a lot of drugs and a lot of things I don't want to be around and see and have to maybe interfere in one day. Like, I don't want that drama. So that was my deciding factor, even though they did pay a little bit more, and I would have felt safe because I knew the network already, I knew the curriculums already, I knew the routines, but I ended up going with this other school, which I was going to go to before the school I just left, but their interview process is like 20 steps. Like, so in the middle of it, I already got other offers, so I just kind of stopped. So I am going to be working at that charter school as a third grade teacher, which is nerve-wracking because that's when our state tests start in third grade. So they'll be taking the PSSAs, and so I've never had to directly deal with that before. And luckily, the transition from second to third, I feel like might be smoother because end of second graders are kind of the same as beginning third graders. So hopefully it just feels like a continuation of like the levels I've already had. So that's where I'm at. I just wanted to give that update. I know it's been so long, but honestly, this summer I've just been, as soon as we got done working, I've been like focused on wedding planning. I have not even started preparing, besides buying a planner, I have not even started preparing for the upcoming school year. And I start August 1st. And, well, at least the new teachers start August 1st. Kids start August 22nd. And it's July 25th. So I am starting on Monday. But I just wanted to take the summer to just kind of decompress, relax, do the other things I needed to do. Try not to revisit the trauma that was last year. Did I learn anything from that experience? I think I learned more about myself in terms of my patience, and in terms of, because I did have 5 adults in my room, in terms of my ability to manage adults. But I feel like in this case, it was hard trying to manage adults because the whole school, I felt like I was walking on eggshells. Like, you don't know how to talk to people. Even if you're nice, even if you're not even saying anything, people carry stuff from home, and some people can't leave it at the door, so you have no idea what you're in for. Paper towels. What? I really could write a book all about this one school, but I'm not going to. What they're going through now, I'm not even surprised. I just feel bad for, some of the staff members who decided to stay, but I cannot imagine why anyone would stay at that school. It literally is just so terrible. And like, the principal is nice. She's great. I think she just lets people walk over her sometimes, and she puts her foot down when it's too late. So people were coming in, like, school starts at 8 and teachers were expected to arrive at 8, which to me is already nonsense, because we can't be walking in the building the same time as the kids. That's nonsense to me. But that was the rule. So teachers and students are expected to be at school at 8. we have staff coming in 8:30, 8:45. Teachers coming in at like 8:30. Like, who was watching your class? You didn't even call anyone to ask their assistant or PCA or someone to watch over your room. I've been next to classrooms where kids came over to my room like, we don't have a teacher. Now, mind you, that particular teacher went on maternity leave, so there was like a lot of subs, long-term subs, and they had like weird hours. Oh, there was this instance with a sub, and she got so many people. I don't even want to say too much. Like, I mean, I didn't witness it, but I kind of did, and but it was already handled. But I don't even want to say it. It's terrible. It's terrible, the treatment of staff and kids at this school. Like, it's terrible. But even people in my room, like, again, the sister of the principal, just coming in at 11:30. She sneaks in after the kids' lunch, and then she But yes, that is the trauma that was my school year. I am so thankful that I am now going to a new school and I'm going to be experiencing a new grade. I always wanted to move up to a new grade, but I thought I was going to do it at year 10, and I'm doing it at year 8, which is absolutely okay. I am excited to meet my new kiddos. I'm excited to meet the new staff. I looked on the staff list and I actually saw a staff member I used to work with. She worked, I think she was a 6th grade teacher, so I'm excited to see her again. And I think it's going to be a really good year. And so far I'm having a really good, relaxing summer, and I hope you're having a relaxing summer. I know that was a lot of tea. That was mild. I could give you the boiling hot, scorching tea, but maybe for a different video in a different year when I am more level-headed, because even talking about it, I'm still getting mad and flustered. So maybe in the future I can get more specific into some other things that were going on into that school. But honestly, it's behind us now. You know, we shouldn't even revisit it, to be completely honest. But because we are starting a new school year, there's a lot of exciting things that's going to be happening, such as classroom move-in days and more classroom setup days. There's going to be the things that you definitely need in the classroom. From my experience, my go-tos, my tried and trues, these things were absolutely a must. I'm going to try to put out more videos before I have to start, but if that doesn't happen, definitely I'll find a way to vlog my new school, and I'm so excited to bring you along with me. If you are not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to like and hit that notification bell so that you are notified when I put out these bomb setup videos. I don't know if I want to set up my classroom differently, because the color schemes are different. You know, my last class, they had the green cabinets. This class, I think, has more blue things. Like, do I want to change? We'll see. We are going to be winging it, and I'm bringing you along. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.